So, hi, hello, hi, and welcome to another video. So, today we're talking about my favorite or the best books of 2022 that I read. So, um, this was a really difficult list because I read over 200 books, and a lot of them were really good. So, I've tried to take it down a little. So we have gotten 10. Now there are other books that I obviously really loved as well. I mean, all the ones that I have rated probably 4 and 5 stars are books that I would recommend to others. But these are 5 stars. These are like when I went through like all the books that I have read this year, these are the ones that I probably thought this is definitely a favorite. Like this needs to be on the list. And yeah, let's just start talking about them. The first one is Pride and Prejudice. And yeah, this is a classic. I really liked it. And so we are following, is her name Elizabeth? I'm terrible with names, okay? I think her name is Elizabeth, and basically I don't know when it's set, but it's a classic, so it's set far back. And basically, in this family, the mother wants to get to marry off her daughters, and yeah, we meet Mr. Darcy, and he's basically like this rude person, and he is the love interest. So it's it's Pride and Prejudice. So yeah, it's a like slow burn, let's call it that. And yeah, overall, I really did like this. It's definitely something that I will reread. I want to watch the movie, and yeah, I just haven't gotten to that yet. But yeah, I really did enjoy this book. I have never read this before. I mean, that is kind of the qualification to get on this list. So yeah, overall, I really did enjoy this. I guess that in the future I will need to reread this because I liked it, and to get maybe some more out of it. Then I have my phone here just to know what is on the list. Then we have Act Your Age, Eve Brown, and this is the third book in the Brown Sisters series, and we are following Eve Brown, and she's the youngest of the 3 sisters. And basically, she can never hold a job. She just changes her mind all the time. So her parents basically cuts her off. So she wants to get to be like this cook or something at this bed and breakfast. She gets a no, and then on that same day, she basically hits the owner with her car. So it's kind of forced proximity because she's like, I'm gonna take care of you and then stay at the bed and breakfast. And it's a love story between those two. And he doesn't like her because he thinks she's like too much. So I really like this. I do believe that I personally like Chloe Brown the best, just because of the chronic pain. And yeah, I think I can relate more to that story. Not because I have the same thing as her, but yeah, I can definitely see myself more in her. But I really did like Eve Brown, and it was such an amazing story. Then we have Warbreaker, and yeah, this was really a something I just felt like I haven't read this before. So it's basically about this. You can basically intake breaths so you can live a longer life. We are following 2 sisters, and basically the oldest one is supposed to be married off to this prince in this kingdom. They are I almost said dead. I don't think that is how it's described though. Basically the the king. The king of this place is basically like he has like 1,000 breaths, and the oldest one is supposed to be, you know, sent there to be married off, but they send the youngest sister instead, and it's a really interesting story, like extremely interesting. I really like this. Brandon Sanderson, I just feel like there are not a lot of things he can do wrong. So this was extremely interesting. It's, yeah, and yeah, there are a lot of things that is happening, and you learn a lot about the younger sister and the king, and you know how they try to figure out kind of how things is done in this kingdom, because he doesn't really know why. So it's like really interesting concept, and I really love this story. Then we have a Monster Calls, and yeah, this was an extremely emotional story. It's about this boy, and basically his mother is close to death, and basically he's visited by this monster who wants to hear his, like, the truth. But first he wants to tell this boy, like, I think it's 3 stories or something, and then he wants to hear the truth. And yeah, this was really good, and I just could not put this book down. It's definitely like one of the, like, I don't know if it's middle grade or really young YAs. But it was really good, and I think a lot of people will like this book. So yeah, it's definitely something that is like going to be on my mind a lot. Then we have the Puppy War, and in this one we are following this girl. And basically, she wants to get into this elite, like, military school. But basically, it's really difficult for her just because she is, like, not rich. But she gets in it, and then a lot of things is happening. And so yeah, this is set, like, based in, is it China? I am bad at places and names. So it's, yeah, it's set during war times, and it's really good, and I can't wait to read the 2 next in this story. Then we kind of have almost the whole Bargainer series. I read the 2 Lost books and the novella this year, and I really loved all of them. We are basically following, is her name Callie? And she's basically a siren, and she has all these beads up her arm, which basically are bargains that she basically owns the Bargainer. And he has now been gone for like 7 years, and then in the first book he comes back, and you kind of are set kind of when that happens. So yeah, it was really good. I really loved it, and it's definitely a series I want to reread and maybe tab. So yeah. Then we have Scythe, and this is basically set in a place where you can no longer die on your own. If you die, you will basically be brought back. The only way to die is if a scythe gleans you. And we are basically following these 2 people. We have Rowan and I don't remember her name. And basically, these 2 people are basically chosen to be apprentices for a scythe. And it's kind of their life. So I was supposed to read this whole series in December. Did I do it? No. But I loved the first one, and I can't wait to basically finish this series. So it was really good, and it's a really interesting story, and it's definitely something I have never read before. So loved it. Then we have the Beast Warrior, and I feel like this is one of the ones that I was just like, I read this in the beginning of the year, but this is a book that I need to have in. So the Beast Warrior is basically the second book in this series. The first one is the Beast Player, and we are following Ellen, and basically her mother dies, and she's basically taken in by this man who raises beasts, and basically during her life she can kind of like not communicate with these beasts, but you have two like different beasts. You have the Toda and you have the beast owl, and yeah, it's basically her life. And the Beast Warrior is the second book in this series, and it was so good. It was just like something that I knew I had to put on this list just because I loved it so much. And the first one, I knew what was going to happen because there is an anime that is like based on that book, but this one I had no clue, and it was still really good, really sad, and yeah, I just really loved it. Then we have When Gracie Met the Grump, and this is Mariana Zapata's newest release, and we are following Gracie, and basically this is a superhero romance. Did not expect that from her, but basically, you know, we are following Gracie, and basically in her yard, basically just plums a superhero, and he's a real grump, and basically she takes care of him. It's a slow burn romance between those two, and it's really interesting, to say the least. It was really good. I liked it. And definitely not as good as, you know, the Wall of Winnipeg and Me and All Roads Lead Here, which are like my top tier Mariana Zapata books. But it was definitely an okay book, and I liked it. It was definitely something different. Then my top book of the year. This is my top book. This is my favorite book that I think I have read in a while. And there is Promise of Darkness. This is also a fantasy romance book. And we are following this girl, and basically every like year, she has to go with this like other a king from another country, not country but place. Every year she needs to go with him, and she don't remember him. She don't know who he is. He's like the rival to her mother, and yeah, every year she has to go with him. It's not as creepy as it might sound when I say that. There is a reason why she needs to go with him every year, and there is definitely something more that is going on that you kind of figure out during the book. But now there are dark forces that are, you know, going around, and she needs to find somehow to stop it with this guy that she don't remember. And she also needs to figure out who is he. So yeah, it was so good. I loved it, and I am going to read this entire series now during this year, and I can't wait. So I will probably basically talk more about this next year, but I loved it. So yeah, that was all my favorite books of the year. I hope you liked this video, and maybe pick someone up. I mean, search them up at least and see if it's something for you. And I will see you next time for another video. Bye!